guys! So today I thought I would film a video that has been quite requested on my channel, that a lot of people seem to be interested in and that a lot of people seem to want to know, and that is how to convince your parents to get your first horse or like to just get you a horse. So for me personally, my situation was a bit special, so I don't think that'll be like your textbook situation, like to be where I was, but I'll just give you some tips on what I think could work and kind of what I did. So step number one would be obviously to start riding. I think to have a horse you should be at a certain level, like you should have been riding for like a few years or like at least for a while, and you should take lessons. You should know how to take care of a horse. Like you should have basic knowledge about feeding, like just like vet stuff, like how to take care if they get a wound or cut, how to fit their tack, how to just handle them. Like you should know the basics about a horse, how the horse works, how to handle it, how to tack it up, how to like do everything, like clean stalls and yeah, stuff like that. So when you've been riding for a while, I guess everyone wants a horse. So what I think is most important for parents is that you show them that you're able to take care of a horse, which is very important. And a good way of showing that is to like just be dedicated. Like if you're taking lessons, just be very dedicated about your lessons and like show them and be very enthusiastic about like the whole horse thing. That obviously helps a lot. But I think like a very important thing is that you need to know that your parents have the funds and like are in the financial situation that they are able to buy a horse, because a lot of parents are not. And I know that maybe when you're like 12 years old you don't think that far, like you don't think about how important that is and how that's probably like a very big reason that you might not get a horse, that your parents can't afford it. Because a horse is very expensive and your parents probably know that. You might not realize that, but like buying the horse is kind of like the smallest thing, because that's like one amount and you pay it one time, but everything else is what makes it like more expensive. Like you have to pay board every month, you have to pay for their feed, to get their feet done, for like vet expenses, just there's so many things like tack, and then they need something special, and like it's just so much and you need to be prepared for all of that. And if you depend on your parents to get a horse, which I guess you are if you're watching this video, you should be sure that your parents are in the financial situation to actually buy you a horse, because otherwise this isn't like really something you should like. I guess it would be hard to like, these other tips are kind of like unimportant if your parents are not in the financial situation to buy a horse, because then you probably won't get very far anyway. But after like, okay, let's say that your parents are like in the financial situation to have a horse, but they're not quite sure if they want to get you one. So first of all, you should show your dedication. Like just show them that this is something that you really care about, this is something that you're passionate about and something that you really want to do, so that they can like really understand that, okay, like she really wants a horse. And another great way to show them that you're responsible is first of all to do well in school. I suppose you are in school if you're that young that you depend on your parents to get a horse. Just do very well in school, and like you should also let them know that your motivation to do well in school are horses. Like you really want to ride, you really want to have a horse, and that is what motivates you to do well in school and to get good grades, because that, I think that is quite important to every parent. So after that, if you've shown your general dedication in life, you could start doing it in a more equestrian way. You could start off with just helping out at your barn if you are at a lesson barn. Like just go there and like volunteer, help out with lesson, clean stalls, brush horses, like just that kind of stuff. Like just help out, because that's a really good way of showing dedication. Like if you do like the bad parts, like the shit work of horses, just voluntarily, that should show every parent that you are truly dedicated to horses and riding. And to get more experience, that is also a great thing to do, to just volunteer at a barn if you take lessons, or to just go there and watch and like help out with stuff. And if you don't take lessons, try to like see if you can find a barn close to you with some people who have horses, and just ask them if you could like help out for free, just to get more knowledge and just to be around horses, because that is not only a great way of getting experience, but it's also showing your parents that you're able to like handle that. You should also, like, it could be a good idea to lease a horse, or to loan a horse, or to board, I don't know what you want to call it, but like that you have kind of like a deal with the owner of a horse, that you will occasionally, like a few days a week or full time, take care of their horse like it was your own, but you don't actually buy it. That could be something that your parents would be more realistic to them, compared to buying you a horse right away, because then, like, if you lose interest, if they feel like you can't do it, you don't have to sell the horse and like all of that. So that is a great way, if you have that opportunity, to like just start with like helping out someone else with their horse, because that will be probably like, it'll probably be easier to convince your parents to let you loan a horse or to part loan a horse than to buy you one right away, if they're like not horsey people. To help them to understand more about horses, I would highly suggest that you talk to your instructor or your trainer or someone that's in charge of horses, or like just some adult who's experienced with horses. Tell them that you want to have your own horse and that you need some help with like convincing your parents. Parents and adults in general will usually like be more on board if they talk to another adult or someone who's just more experienced with horses. So you should ask someone who's grown up with experience of horses to talk to your parents and to sit down, and they can explain to them better like what it means to have a horse, what you need to think of, like expenses, like time, all of that. And that's what my instructor did. My instructor talked to my parents like when I was in a riding school, and they like got to know what it meant to have a horse, and yeah, stuff like that. That really helped things out with my parents. So if you're like a little bit into this, like you've shown your dedication, you've asked them, you've like made sure that they can afford it, you've gotten experience with helping out other people and stuff. But there are tons of ways of convincing your parents to get you a horse, but you should just like, it's not something that's gonna happen in a day probably. You might have to like show them over some years and like just really tell them like, this means a lot to me and I really want a horse. Like just set up a list with lots of good arguments to why you should have a horse. Like it will improve your life quality, you meet lots of new people, it is a very healthy hobby, like it's lots of activity, physical activity, it's very good for your mind and for your like mental health, physical health. You get to be around people, you get to be around animals, you get to learn to take care of something. That is a very important thing. When having a horse, you really learn to take care of an animal and that they depend on you and stuff like that, and that is a very good thing to carry with you in your life, like when you grow up, that you can take care of an animal. That means you can like basically do anything, because they require a lot of care and you need to kind of do everything for them. But that is a very valuable experience to carry with you in life. But getting a horse, it's not very easy if your parents are not horsey people in the first place. Like it can be very difficult to convince them. And a lot of you probably won't succeed in doing that, but if you don't, just know that when you're above 18, when you grow up, when you're done with your education, you can get a job and then you can buy a horse of your own. So don't get too discouraged if your parents won't get you a horse, because there's always a way when you grow up, and it depends a bit on where you live, but you could probably find somewhere where you could take care of people's horses. Maybe you take care of them and you can ride for free. There are tons of options if your parents won't buy you a horse. You just need to think outside the box, be creative, look around, like just do whatever you can with horses that like can help you towards your goals. And just, yeah, you need to be creative. Like, you know what works for your parents, you know what works in your situation, so you just need to think accordingly. And you gotta get creative to get a horse, usually. But I suggest like doing what I said, like get experience, show dedication, find a trainer, find a barn, get knowledge, just like prepare everything. Like you can make a budget, you can like estimated budget, like this is okay mom, like this is about how much it will cost to have a horse, like for they need food, they need farrier, they need the vet, I need lessons, they need tack and stuff. Just make them aware of everything. That is also a very good way to like include them in the thing, like really show that okay she realizes how much this is, and you can make a time schedule for you, like okay, I go to school that time, I come back from school that time, then I go to the barn and I spend time with my horse and do everything there, and then I come home, and from then to then I'm gonna do my homework, and then I have some time to be with friends, and like yeah, make a time schedule, like okay, this is how I plan to like split my time up so that I have time for everything, and then maybe like find a part-time job. Yeah, I feel like this video is really messy, like I didn't have a plan with it, I've just been talking like on top of my head, so I'm sorry if it's a bit messy, but I hope some of my tips can help you anyway, and good luck with convincing your parents to get you a horse, and don't get discouraged if they can't get you a horse or won't get you a horse, because there is a time for everything and there's a lot of opportunities. If you can't buy your own horse, you can always find someone to ride with, depending a bit on where you live of course, but yeah. So good luck with convincing your parents to get you a horse, and I hope some of these tips could be helpful to you, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!